Hey, what's up? I wanted to share just a little bit of my process here with you guys. I wanted to write something really quick in just a few minutes. I've got to teach here in a little bit, and I'm working with my live stream setup, trying to get some screen capture stuff going on here. So I figured this would be a fun little experiment, and you'll get to see how I actually make music on the computer with no instruments. All right, I'm not even going to play a keyboard here. It's going to be done all with the mouse and my brain and music theory. So here's what I want to do. Let's start off. I use a program called Reason. So I'm going to open up Reason. And the first thing I want to do is just get a tempo going. And whatever comes to mind. I'm hearing a tempo of bum, 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 bum. So I can click this tap button, 3, 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And it gives me a tempo of about 65 beats a minute. That seems pretty slow. Let's take a listen to that. 3 and 4. Yeah, that's about what I was looking for. Okay. So right now I have a drum loop going here. It's just a really lame drum loop, but it's going to help me keep things in time, and I'm going to keep it muted for now. And I want to build a little piano melody. I want to build a very simple piano melody. And I'm going to drag a piano down here. And I'm hearing in my head just like kind of an ascent, kind of a higher toned dun, 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 something like that. So let's see if I can find those notes. Dun, dun. That sounds like a minor third. Right there, that looks like a D sharp, E flat, 1 and 2 and it sounds like I'm going to be working for quarter notes here. So what I've done is I've dragged this D sharp note out for a quarter note, 1 and I want to have it come up a minor third on my 2 beat. Here's my 2 beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I want something on the 4 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4 and so, and then I don't know what note I want to end here on, but I think maybe just back on this D sharp, and I'll let that note ring out. So here's my simple melody. Okay, and I'm going to extend this note a little bit. You heard some extra chatter going on there because I clicked that note. Let's listen again. I'm going to loop it. 2, 3, again. It's 1, 2. Oh, it's not looping. Well, anyways, you get the idea of that simple melody. What I want to do, though, is make it interesting, because right now it's just this simple melody. So I'm going to have it happen 4 times. And what I'm thinking is each one of these 4 times, I want a different chord playing underneath that melody. And every time I do that, it's going to make that melody sound slightly different. That melody will have a slightly different context and a slightly different feeling if the chord underneath it is different. So what sort of chord should I put underneath it? I really don't know. But let's make another piano, and let's actually get a different piano patch just for fun. And we'll have chords being played on this piano patch. Now, it sounds like these notes right here, it sounds like we are in the key of B major. I mean, we could be in other keys, but this melody seems naturally like B major is the center point. So I'm going to go over here and start programming in a B major chord. And I'll have it just as an arpeggio, maybe up just the roots and the fifths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So here's 1, and then here's my 5th, and 2 and. And I've got that nice little simple arpeggio thing going on there, just roots and fifths, and here's what it sounds like. I'm going to copy paste that a few times. Okay, that sounds pretty nice. I mean, it's a little cheesy, you know. It kind of sounds like some Lifetime home movie theme song right now, but we're getting somewhere. It's melodic at least. Let's listen to that first measure again. I'm going to turn off the click and we'll loop it. Okay, now I'm hearing the 6th chord. All right, the 6th chord in B minor would be a G sharp minor. So I want to move on over. Let's move this down to the 7th note, and let's move this down to the 6th note. And then we'll keep this idea on our chords of just doing roots and fifths. So there's the 5th, and then there's the octave. So here's the 2nd measure now. Let's hear it with the 1st measure coming in too. So this first chord is going to be a B major on the bass, or it's implying a B major, even though it's just roots and fifths. This next chord is going to be implying a G sharp minor. And now, beautiful. Now I'm hearing the 4 chord after that. So let's just copy this over and let's move some things around. If this was the 6th note of the scale, that means this is the 5th note of the scale. This is the 4th note of the scale. And we'll keep this root 5th octave stuff going. And actually, maybe we keep this as a major 7th right here instead of going to the octave. And I realize these notes are not sustained. See, these are the things you don't have to worry about if you play the parts, but I'm not actually playing these piano parts. I'm just doing it all with my mouse here. And that's kind of obviously why it sounds so robotic. So let's listen to this change from, I'm going to speed this up a little bit, just to, it feels a little dragging, and I want to hear this melody a little quicker. I'm probably going to put bum, 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 little falling, descending bass line there. Here's the 4. Now, the loop ended early there, but let's listen to that 4 chord again here, which is E major. I was going to change some of these notes. I was going to change this note here. I thought it might better be accommodated if I lifted it up to be an, what is that, an E right there, like this. And that way it helps accommodate that major chord a little bit. But I like having it as a D sharp, kind of reinforcing that idea of the E major 7. So I'm just going to leave it there. And then the last chord, I think it would only make sense to make it a 5 chord. So this is a very generic chord progression. It looks like we ended up going 1, 6, 4, 5, which is like your classic love song chord progression. But I can just move that whole thing up like this. And I could have been doing that the whole time, by the way. I could have just been copy-pasting these and moving the entire things down instead of one by one. But now I've got my full melody. Let's listen to this last measure. I might want to change some of these notes. So over the F sharp. Oh, wait. Something went wrong there. Oh, yeah, because this used to be a major 7th. So this is now playing the major 7th of an F sharp chord. So now there's an F natural in there. That's bad. Let's move that back up to an F sharp, and that should be a little bit more consonant. Okay, so there's a lot of work to be done with this, but at least I've got something to start off with, and I'm going to add in the one idea I had right away, which is this bass note moving down here from the root. 1, 2, 3, and then boom, boom. So we went from the B to the B flat there. A sharp, sorry. All right, you hear that nice little bass, little descending bass right there. And of course, you could reinforce that. Maybe, actually, let's reinforce that. One other element here before we close things off. I just want to throw in a simple string. All right, we're going to get like a little violin or something like that. And I'll use some of our presets here. We'll go into string combinations. This looks like violin. I don't even know what these even violins and VCs. I don't know what a VC is. Let's just do violins. Violins long. And then maybe these strings are kind of accenting the lowest note of what my piano is doing. And I'm going to extend that instead of having repeating like this. So I've got... Yep, and then down here to help reinforce that bass note. And then maybe it can actually leave some of the bass notes behind for a little while. So instead of going straight to the E like this, maybe it just plays the 5th of E, which is back on B. And then same thing here, maybe it's playing the 5th of our F sharp, which is a C sharp. So I've got this little string line in here. And I'll add a little reverb to it. Add reverb to the rest of the pianos. Now some of these notes are ringing out too long. So we'll fix that. Automate some of those notes to fade out. Like this. And let's see what that sounds. Beautiful, right? I can just see the emotional courtroom scene in my Hallmark Lifetime music song. Whoops, I skipped over there. Okay, now, just for fun, let's hear what would happen. I've got a nice little melody here, something simple. Maybe you sing on top of it. But one thing that's really missing is some funny drums. What if we put some, like, really unnecessary, unexpected drum style on top of this? What if we put some, like, dubstep drums or some, like, hip-hop drums? So I'm just going to grab a drum loop here. There's these Bomb Squad beats I really like. They're usually for faster tempos, though, so we'll see how they fit in here. But, like, some hip-hop drums on top of this might make for a cool, I don't know, modern rap kind of beat. Let's listen. Yeah, so you can hear this loop is a little wonky. But the idea there, let's try some other loops. Now that's cool, right? So once I do this, you know, I play around with different drum loops just to hear what the ideas might sound like, and then it might give me an idea to program my own drum beat. Programming drums usually takes me a little while, so I'm not going to do that in this video. But let's just filter out this drum beat a little bit and make it sound a little weirder. So this sounds kind of cool to me, right? If I was a good rapper, I could lay down a beat on top of this. Yeah, I don't know why I ate the pie. I put it in my eye. So, you know, you can think like, I think like Fort Minor. Do you remember that, like, early 2000s-y hip-hop group? They were doing stuff like this. So, I mean, just a few minutes, and I wanted to kind of talk you through the process if I'm thinking when I'm just kind of finger painting like this. I'm not actually, you know, composing something I had in mind. I'm literally just going in here and smearing my hand all over the canvas and seeing, hey, what's going to happen today? And I didn't want to work too hard and, you know, work too much thought involved. Just kind of doing what sounds good. And if I were to continue working on this, I would probably want to improve this melody. This melody's the same thing 4 times. That little motive right there, a little motif. I would, you know, maybe improve that or sculpt it a little bit so it has more interest going on in it. And I would probably add in some more chord changes, a lot of orchestration, and maybe turn this into like an actual vocal-oriented song. I could see this as kind of that blend between hip-hop and pop music. So, I don't know. Something like this, though, is going to get saved in my original music folder, where it'll probably languish for the next 8 years before it ever gets opened up again. So I hope you enjoyed this video, a little behind-the-scenes information on how I do things like this. Just for you guys here on Patreon, thank you so much for your support here. I don't think you honestly, well, maybe you do understand, but it's literally what's determining me doing these lessons going forward is the financial support. You can't do something like this for free. You need to be able to eat and pay rent for studio stuff and equipment and a house over your head. And your guys' support is literally enabling it. So I want you to make sure that you give yourself the credit for enabling lessons like this, the ones on my YouTube channel going forward. Thanks for watching.